Cory. Good.
Well, for more reaction to all of this, we've got in the studio with us here in Canberra David Leyonhjelm, a senator, of course, a crossbench senator for the Liberal Democratic Party. Senator, thanks for your time this morning. You've just been at a meeting of crossbench senators, I think it was. Did you need to wait? Were the ranks swollen by one?
There was a joke, do we wait for Cory? But it's not official yet, so maybe next week he'll come to our meeting.
Have you spoken to him on the phone at all? Any contact?
Yes. Well, yeah, Cory shared his plans with me about 3 weeks ago, and I found out by other means what he was up to further than that as well.
So 3 weeks ago he said, I'm splitting, I'm forming a new party?
Yeah, he told me that.
Did you let the Prime Minister know?
No, I figure I didn't tell anyone. It's Cory's business, not my business. Why
did he tell you? Was he saying, what, can we form an alliance? What's the sort of background there?
Yes, he wanted a bit of information about what it's like with a small party. He had various questions about managing a small party and what else you need to do.
How to set it up, basically.
Well, yes, and you know, what does the AEC require of you, and various things along those lines. We had quite a productive chat. I like Cory as an individual. I like him. I've always liked him. He's brave. On the areas where he agrees with me, and that would have to be the vast majority of issues. He is actually a small L Liberal on economic stuff and regulation and overall in general. He's solid as a rock. He's a good thinker, he's quite smart. There are a number of issues where he and I would part company, and they are pretty much the same issues that I parted company with Bob Day. And I worked very, very well with Bob Day. And it may be that someone from Family First will replace Bob, or maybe even Bob will come back himself, because he hasn't been declared bankrupt and it doesn't look like he's going to be bankrupted.
Even though he said he'd step away, though, regardless because of business interests. So.
Yes, I don't know. There's just a bit of chatter about the possibility that might change. So anyway, somebody from Family First is there, Bob or somebody else, then there's Cory, and then there's me.
A block of three.
A block of three, at least on economic stuff. That wouldn't be a bad thing from my point of view.
So you part company on social value issues, presumably issues like same-sex marriage, and I presume other things as well, but you're very much on the same page with pushing for lower taxes and smaller government. Is there anything that you think you can get done now, if Cory was there, that you'd be able to push for or argue for?
No, the economics are the big stumbling block. We have a Senate that thinks lowering taxes is not such a bad idea, but cutting spending as well is a terrible idea, and they just don't compute. So no, we've got a large proportion of the Senate, and I'd probably include a few government senators in it, who just live in a parallel universe on economics. They just don't get it. My view is we won't. The shoe won't drop, or the penny won't drop, mix my metaphors, until Trump lowers company taxes in America, or there is some sort of external influence that says to Australia, you can't go carrying on the way you're doing, you do have to change, whether you like it or not.
Well, what about the defection itself? What do you make of it? The strong attack from the Liberal Party is you were elected 7 months ago as Liberal Senator, and now in this 6-year term you're leaving.
I'm a bit reluctant to enter into that. That's a Liberal Party thing, and I'm not Liberal Party.
But his voters.
Yes, that's true, although he has a very strong personal following in South Australia, as I understand it. He has been building up this conservative movement now for quite a long time, and you would assume, I would assume anyway, that a good number of his voters, or the voters for the Liberal Party, voted for the Liberal Party in South Australia because of Cory. I think I'm not sure that I would go along with the idea that they voted for the Liberal Party irrespective of whether Cory was there or not. Now he's betraying them.
Would it be the right thing, though, to test that before the election?
Oh, this question comes up every time somebody leaves one of the major parties. You could have said that about the Palmer United people who left Clive. Should they have gone back to an election, got re-elected under their own steam? The fact is that's not required, it won't happen. It's all a bit theoretical.
If he confided in you 2 or 3 weeks ago that he was preparing to make this move, Did he ever confide in you prior to the election that he was open to the idea of going out on his own?
No. No, not me. No. I think
Others?
Well, I don't know. There's been chatter about what's Cory's agenda and his discontent with the Liberal Party.
Nothing concrete you're aware of,
No,
basically?
no specific plans. I didn't actually think... My initial reaction when I heard the stories that he was going to leave the Liberals and form his own party, I didn't believe it because... and if I was in his shoes, I wouldn't have done it. My view is he's stronger inside the Liberal Party than outside. Small parties, especially with the new Senate voting rules, really are up against it. In a normal half-Senate election, unless you can get 6.5%, you are not assured of getting re-elected. Now, that's a big ask.
And just in terms of tackling middle-class welfare, which is an issue that you support, Christian Porter is obviously briefing the party room this morning on the family tax benefit cuts that will be rolled into the childcare bill. Now, I know you're not a fan of spending more money on childcare, but do you have any detail from the government of whether these new FTB cuts are the same ones that we've heard about before? Is there something new in there?
No, I haven't been briefed on that at all. Although Christian Porter has arranged a meeting with me, I think this week, so presumably he wants to brief me on what he has in mind. I actually introduced a private senator's bill and got it voted on to wind back family tax benefit, so to increase the taper. It was a famous vote. I've got a picture of the division. I called a division on it. I was on one side and every other senator was on the other side. Probably because it was my idea rather than the government's idea, they voted against it.
But you've had some harsh things to say about childcare in the past.
Yeah. Childcare is intended to get mostly women back to work. That's what it's there for. And, I got such a lot of abuse for, they think, denigrating all the wonderful things they're doing about early education. But the fact is that...
What was it that you said?
I said, you don't need a Certificate 3 to look after kids when what you're doing is wiping noses and stopping them killing each other. So what I was trying to say was childcare is fine and early education is fine. It's a matter of who pays for it.
So you think basically this level, you're sceptical about how much early education is, and this level of, if you want that for your child, fine, don't want the government to subsidise it, basically.
Exactly. Well, you're basically asking people who don't have children to subsidise people who do have children, and
that's a big part of the tax system, regardless. Though, really, isn't it?
It starts right in childcare all the way up to university too. So, we have to draw the line somewhere. But you have to remember that childcare. The alternative to childcare in most cases is mum staying at home with the littlies. Now, mum does not need a Certificate 3 to look after her bub. She doesn't require that. So the suggestion that anybody else who looks after her kids has to have all these qualifications and get as well paid as they'd like to think they'll get well paid, defies logic. It's a matter of who pays for it. I have no argument with parents, putting their littlies into childcare and having them taught early education stuff. The question is who pays for it.
Okay, can I get one more thought on Cory Bernardi, the defection, the principle of, some people are saying, well, the party's moved away from him. Since the election, it doesn't seem to be the case that the party's lurched towards the left since July. Is it going to be hard for him to justify on that basis?
Yeah. His view is the Liberal Party's moved away from him. He hasn't moved away from the Liberal Party. That's one of the things he said to me.
Do you agree with that theory since July?
No, I don't. There is an internal division within the Libs between the Turnbull-aligned people and they're more small L Liberal, and then there's the small c Conservatives who are more closely aligned with Abbott and to some extent Cory, although Cory and Abbott aren't on the same team. But when you drill down to it, it's mostly about personalities and I don't know, leadership, I suppose, charisma or something along those lines, because the actual issues that they're disagreeing about are relatively small. Same-sex marriage, yes, well, some want a plebiscite because they think it'll win, some want a plebiscite because they think it'll fail, some don't want a plebiscite, they want a free vote in Parliament. It's not an issue that they should kill each other over. There's the climate change issue, but nothing's actually changed in policy terms. I don't get why they're at each other's throats, to be honest.
Oh well, thanks for your insights today, Senator David Leyonhjelm.